sexual delinquency of a minor, and 1 count of reckless endangerment. Those 2 counts of sexual abuse that you see there on your screen are the only 2 counts that Alberto Gonzalez was found not guilty of late this afternoon. My colleague Carmen Jeffrey is upstairs at the Multnomah County Courthouse getting reaction right now to the verdicts that came down, and we hope to try to get that to you, if not later in tonight's newscast, then tonight at 11.
Mary, did you notice any visible reaction from Gonzalez at the reading of the verdict?
I did not see any noticeable change in his facial expression, no, Kathy. To tell you the truth, though, I was listening to the verdicts, rushed out of the courthouse to come down here and get the verdicts to you. We should have much more on the emotional side for you, either, as I said, later in the newscast or tonight at 11.
Okay. Guilty of 12 of 14 counts, Alberto Gonzalez tonight.
Well, the other big story, traditionally, this is one of the biggest travel days of the year, and the people who keep track of traffic expect it to be even heavier than usual this Thanksgiving weekend.
AAA say roads this Thanksgiving will be busier than they've been in some 7 years. Let's go around to Joe Satilli in the Weather Center for the very latest on travel conditions. But first, let's go to Pat Cruz, who's out there in the traffic. Pat?
Well, Pete and Kathy, the traffic is about as thick as your average rush hour, but it's been thick since about 2:30 or 3 this afternoon. People are getting an early start, and by all indications, travel on roads and rail will be up significantly this Thanksgiving over last. AAA predicts that the car travel will be up 7.5% this Thanksgiving over last. The manager at the Greyhound bus station says that reservations are up between 8 and 10% over last year. Amtrak is sold out on all its reserved trains. They're also moving more passengers than last year. The train station is always full at Thanksgiving, but this morning's train from Portland to Seattle boarded almost half again as many passengers as the same train last year. They expect a full train tomorrow again.
So I'm figuring about 3:55 to 4, well, about 3:55 I think is a good guesstimate.
Bus reservations are up anyway, and it will only get better if the weather gets bad and people decide not to drive themselves. If you want to find out the road conditions for your trip, in Oregon, call 1-976-7277. That's 30 cents a call. In Washington, call 1-900-407-7277. That will cost you 35 cents a minute. Some speculate that people are traveling more by roads and rails because they've already spent their travel budget earlier this year when airfares were lower. For a look at air travel, here's John Catton.
Pat, if you're flying this holiday or you're meeting someone here at the Portland airport, things are looking pretty good so far. You can see outside the terminal that it's starting to get just a little bit crowded, and tonight should be the busiest portion of the holiday weekend, but so far no one is running into any giant delays. And here's what it looked like inside the terminal today. Short lines, people generally getting their boarding passes promptly and finding mostly good news on those departure and arrival reader boards. You can see almost all the flights on time. One ticket agent we talked to believes there may be fewer people flying this Thanksgiving, as you mentioned, Pat, than there were last year.
A lot of people did use their all their funds this summer because the fares were extremely low. Everybody did their traveling during the summer, and maybe everybody's going to stay home, a little closer to home this winter and during the holidays.
It's still busy, of course, and you're going to see some people taking naps while they wait. But here in Portland and around the country, the whole system seems to be moving pretty well so far. One exception, we understand things are bogging down just a little bit in the Big Apple, but most of the major hubs like Denver and Dallas, Chicago, even Seattle and Salt Lake City are reporting good weather conditions, and the system is moving, as I say, very well. Still, with just so many people traveling this holiday season, so many people coming out here, especially to the Portland airport, to pick people up and to fly out, the advice is if you're flying out of Portland, get out here at least 1 to 1.5 hours early. Pete and Kathy?
Well, thanks, John. One of the reasons the system is working well is because the weather is with us today, and Joe Satilli can tell us it's cold, but so far it doesn't look rainy or snowy.
Well, Pete and Kathy, around these parts, things look just fine for the early part of the Thanksgiving Day weekend. Unfortunately, a storm system moving through the eastern United States now could cause some delays in the east over the next 24 hours. But as far as we're concerned here in the Northwest, it looks like we're going to get the early start to the travel plans off okay. Here's a look at the satellite loop, and you can see to the west or to the left side of the screen a storm system starting to spread high clouds into the western part of the state. Here's the scenario, the way it seems right now. Looks like rain will start in the western part of the state mid to late afternoon tomorrow afternoon. So if you're going to be traveling, tomorrow morning should be the best time to take off, even if you're going up over the Cascades into eastern Oregon. As this storm system starts to push on in, it's going to start to snow in the Cascade Mountains late tomorrow or early tomorrow evening, and then that snow is going to move into the eastern part of the state. And there also may be some areas of some freezing rain, especially in the Columbia Basin around Pendleton. It looks like Pendleton will be the biggest trouble spot for travelers this holiday weekend. We'll detail the forecast, the 5-day forecast, and of course have weather school for you in just a little while. Pete and Kathy, back to you.
Okay, a lot to cover tonight. Thanks very much, Joe. Well,
Bob Packwood apparently remains silent tonight while several groups turn up the heat in light, of course, of extensive sexual harassment charges against the senator.
Packwood still has not surfaced. He still is not commenting, but his opponents are talking loudly and acting aggressively. News 8's Larry Shoup has the story.
More than 20 representatives from at least 6 different groups gathered to plot strategy against Senator Packwood. They came from the National Organization for Women, Planned Parenthood, the ACLU. They came up with a 3-point plan. They'll form a political action committee to oppose Packwood. They're asking other possible Packwood victims to come forward.
What's clear from the stories that are documented is that this is a pattern of behavior that's occurred over a long period of time, and we simply don't know how far that pattern extends.
The pattern came to light last weekend. The Washington Post reported numerous aggressive sexual harassment incidents involving Packwood going back at least 2 decades. So the last point of the coalition's plan is to aggressively pursue the charges with the Senate Ethics Committee. And there's just one goal, according to former Oregon Supreme Court Justice Betty Roberts.
And the results we want is either Bob Packwood's resignation or the Senate to not seat him in the coming session.
And through all this, Bob Packwood remains silent. He has not shown his face since the story broke Saturday night. And his disappearing act is beginning to make many people angry. What do you think about the fact that he has not gone public and commented about them yet?
I think it's unfair. I think he should be made to do so.
If he doesn't respond, he's going to either look guilty or very irresponsible.
I think he's a real jerk.
Yeah?
That's my opinion about him.
When Mr. Packwood does speak, what would you hope he would say? And is there anything he could say?
I resign.
That's all you want to hear from him?
That's all.
While Mr. Packwood lays low, the case against him grows more public. And even his supporters are beginning to say that the senator's silence only makes matters worse. Larry Shoup, News 8.
The coalition is asking other victims to call the Oregon Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. That phone number is 239-4486.
Some of the women who have accused Oregon Senator Bob Packwood of sexual misconduct are heading to Washington, D.C. next week. They'll be asking how to file a formal ethics complaint against Packwood. Tom Ackerman has more on how an investigation could affect the veteran senator's political clout.
In 24 years, Bob Packwood has climbed to the upper level of the Senate totem pole. Among Republicans, he ranks 4th in seniority, a past chairman of both the Finance and Commerce Committees. And he's still the top Republican player when it comes to taxes and trade. But the prospect of an ethics investigation into charges of sexual misconduct threatens to hamper Packwood's effectiveness in the new Congress. Congressional scholar Norman Ornstein says no matter how far a probe gets, Packwood's attention to his official duties will suffer.
He is not going to be as central a player by any standard because of this. It's going to be exhausting and grueling and diverting for him at minimum.
For years, Packwood has drawn key support from groups pursuing women's causes like the Planned Parenthood Federation, and Planned Parenthood relied on Packwood for crucial Republican support on the issues it sees as important. But now, says the group's vice president, their working relationship has been wounded.
Well, I think it's possibly damaged. I mean, I think that's the sad reality of this kind of dilemma, that when somebody who we look to for important leadership is damaged by behavior of this sort, I think there is the risk that his effectiveness is going to be hampered significantly.
Packwood's whereabouts today were still unknown. At his apartment, the door and window blinds were down, as they have been since Sunday. Whenever he does surface, say aides, Packwood will respond personally to the allegations. But Ornstein says Packwood ought to be bracing for more charges that might follow.
You know, right now, he's basically sitting there waiting to see whether other time bombs go off.
If that happens, what might be only a temporary setback could cripple Packwood's career for good. In Washington, D.C., Tom Ackerman, News 8.
Packwood and Oregon Senior Senator Mark Hatfield have accumulated more Senate seniority than any other state's delegation, with the exception of just one, and that's South Carolina.
Well, Sue Gifford took the stand today in Hillsborough in the much-publicized case of how her father was abandoned at an Idaho racetrack.
We now go live to Lou Frederick with the latest developments today. Lou?
Pete, Sue Gifford just came off the stand for the break for the Thanksgiving weekend. She's been on the stand for several hours now. She's the third defense witness. She was talking about what happened with her father for the last 2 years and how she left him at an Idaho racetrack. The first defense witness was a psychologist who talked about physical and sexual abuse by Gifford's father, John Kingery. The second was an aging specialist who talked about how families typically deal with Alzheimer's. Sue Gifford they had not planned to put Sue Gifford on the stand until this morning.
Do you think you have mental problems?
No.
Okay. You don't hear or see things that aren't fair, do you?
No.
Okay.
Hello. Sue Gifford, apparently, they expect to have her on the stand as a cross-examination again on Monday, and they plan on probably closing the case sometime next week. It is not a jury case. It is a judge. The judge is going to be deciding it, so it should take just a short time for that decision to come in.
Okay, Lou Frederick reporting from Hillsborough on the Sue Gifford case.
Well, back here in Portland, the people who raised $2 million to fight Ballot Measure 9, the anti-gay rights initiative, have agreed to disband on New Year's Eve. Until that time, the No on 9 campaign will keep its office open, pay bills, and decide what to do with nearly $100,000 in surplus campaign funds. The steering committee has been divided on the future of No on 9. Some want to continue to prepare for a similar initiative from the OCA in 1994. Others are satisfied with what they accomplished this year.
We formed the campaign specifically to defeat this particular ballot measure, and we've done that. And so our purpose is really over and completed, and it's, I think, now time for other organizations to step up and continue with what we started.
The steering committee has decided to give the surplus money to other organizations who will carry on the cause that No on 9 championed. They still have not decided which organizations will receive that money.
The sights of the Christmas holiday season are beginning to show up at Pioneer Courthouse Square. Workers using ladders and a crane began decorating the 80-foot Douglas fir today. More than 8,000 lights are expected to twinkle as the tree lighting ceremony takes place Friday evening. The ceremony has become a family tradition since it began in 1984. Many of the 8,000 lights will become glowing memorials to friends and loved ones as part of Oregon's Hospice's Light Up a Life charitable campaign. The tree lighting is set for 7 Friday at Pioneer Courthouse Square. As we told you earlier on News 8, a guilty verdict for Alberto Gonzalez tonight. The man who's been accused of transmitting AIDS to a teenage girl. Will have a live update from the Multnomah County Courthouse on what's happening there. Plus, another shooting has shaken up a Portland motorist. His windshield shattered while he was driving.
Looking for the traditional turkey dinner with all the trimmings, but none of the work? There is a way. And the success story of the little airline that thought it could, and it paid off. Stay with us.
This edition of News 8 is closed captioned through a generous grant from Smith's Home Furnishings, because nobody cares like Smith's.
Watch the Blazers set the Suns tonight at 6:30.
At Thomason Toyota, the more cars we sell, the less we can sell them for. So just think how much you'll save during our biggest sale of the year. We've ordered so many new Toyotas, there isn't room on our lot. Come to the Monarch Hotel Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to choose from hundreds of 93 Corollas, Camrys, pickups, and more, including the new full-size T100 truck. And we offer financing to anyone the law allows. But if you don't come see me at the Monarch Hotel, I can't save you any money.
The season of giving begins. A great tradition. The Meyer and Frank After Thanksgiving sale starts Friday with early bird specials from 8 to 11 a.m. Save 50% in Clubhouse. Save 30 to 50% on athletic shoes. And an extra 25% on special occasion dresses. Save 50% on comforter sets. The After Thanksgiving sale starts Friday at 8 a.m.
Meyer and Frank, your way of giving.
Go ahead. Stop admiring it from a distance We're making it irresistible to own Mitsubishi televisions, big screens, camcorders, VCRs. During this sale, pay no money down and make no monthly payments for 6 months. Mitsubishi. Sale ends Sunday at Captain Video, Lake Oswego and Beaverton, and Lewis TV and Satellite Center, Highway 99, Newburgh.
Most places that sell subs are generous with the lettuce and stuff, but what about the meat? Let's see. Ooh, a lot of stuff. But at Arby's, their subs are loaded with meat, not lettuce. So their new hot ham and Swiss sub for $1.69 is filled with juicy, fresh sliced ham and, oh boy, melted Swiss on a toasted roll that can barely hold it. Arby's new hot ham and Swiss sub, just $1.69. Good deal. Oh, there's the meat. Where? That's right there under that pickle.
That's an olive.
Oh, yeah.
We deal with a lot of bad news every day. And when you walk in there and see the generosity of so many people so visibly piling up, it's really very touching.
Won't you give to the Channel 8 Toy Drive? Bring an unwrapped new toy to the Channel 8 studios or a G.I. Joe store near you.
A truck driver delivering lumber in North Portland this morning got an unpleasant surprise.
It looks like I was shot at by a rifle or a gun.
Dan Beeman was returning from Terminal 6 with an empty chassis. As he approached the intersection of Portland Road and Marine Drive, his windshield exploded and glass started flying around the inside of the cab.
Well, there was no other vehicles around me, so I figured at the time that it couldn't have been a rock. The police thought it was a rifle or a handgun.
Bullet was deflected off the windshield. Beeman wasn't injured. Police searched the railroad overpasses close by, but they did not find a suspect.
A proposal to reopen a plant in northeast Portland that grinds up garbage is already raising quite a stink. Neighbors are retelling their nightmarish stories from last year of terrible odors and infestations of flies. In the midst of public complaints and financial problems, Rydell Environmental Technologies shut down its plant last January. Now a bank has taken over the facility. Bank officials are promising a multi-million-dollar upgrade and are asking for permission to reopen the composting plant. And if a public hearing last night is any indication, the new owners are in for a tough fight. Some 100 neighbors showed up to blast the plant's previous operating record. It looks like smooth sailing for the new Blazer Arena. The project got the final go-ahead from the Metro Council last night. As part of the $200 million deal, the council voted to transfer the operation of Memorial Coliseum to the city of Portland. The city will then turn over the Coliseum to the Trailblazers. By the way, at the Coliseum last night, the Blazers beat San Antonio 95-91 to remain undefeated this season, and Clyde Drexler hit a personal milestone, scoring his 15,000th career point, something only 62 NBA players have ever done. Eric will have more on that coming up in sports, and a little more than an hour from now at 6:30, you can catch the Blazers right here on Channel 8 and take on the Phoenix Suns in Phoenix at 6:30 tonight. Well, while some airlines show major drops in passengers, two small airlines at the Portland airport helped bring in 14% more travelers than last year.
That's right, and one, Morris Air, gained full airline status today. Lou Frederick explains what that means to Portland and what it could mean to passengers.
It's an early morning flight.
Hi, how are you doing? Good morning.
One of 4 Morris Air flights that leave Portland each day. This one's headed for Seattle.
Nice plane, the price is right.
As low as $29 one way to Seattle.
We kind of filled a niche that wasn't here. You know, low fares and 737 service throughout the West.
Most of the small airlines are focused on the business passenger. Morris Air and Reno tend to focus on the recreational passenger, and that's helped.
Okay, guys.
It's helped Portland stay at 3 to 4 times the national average of people flying. Morris Air did it using a patchwork.
Ticket acknowledging that Morris Air is a charter service. And how many bags do you have to check?
What?
The number one question they ask is what kind of aircraft. They don't know anything about, when you say charter service, you think it's a cargo plane or something. So this gives a little bit of credibility and stability to our airline.
Morris Air Service leases planes and crews from Ryan and Sierra Pacific.
Yeah, see, we have a couple more flights because of the holiday season, so it's not going to be on here. Okay, just call the 800 number and reconfirm your reservation before you leave.
Our contract with Continental gets bags loaded and ticket counter space at the terminal. But Morris Air is now in the big league. After 8 years as a charter service, the Department of Transportation gave it airline status. That means travel agents can easily book seats, and Morris Air could buy its own planes and operate its own flights. Right now, the flights are full, and at a time when passenger numbers are down nationwide, full flights here are welcome. Lou Frederick, News 8.
Morris Air began flying out of Portland in June. Port of Portland officials say it may now help to break last year's passenger record at the airport. Well, after a 2-year investigation, the federal government has decided not to join a lawsuit against Precision Castparts, but a local attorney says he will continue the fight against the company. The Southeast Portland company makes parts for airplane engines. A former employee filed a claim on behalf of the federal government saying that Precision Castparts did not inspect the engine parts properly. That claim also says that the company falsified documents to show that parts met specifications when they really didn't. The employee's attorney is disappointed that the Justice Department decided not to take part in that lawsuit. And in national news tonight, President-elect Bill Clinton has named cluster group members today, but no word yet on cabinet members. Clinton spokesperson George Stephanopoulos said the transition team is still working and trying to hammer out some economic issues. Stephanopoulos says the new cluster groups will be looking closely at all federal agencies.
Are going to have specific responsibilities for going into the agencies, for assessing the state of the agencies right now, looking at potential trouble spots, looking at personnel issues within the agencies. They will work.
Cluster group leaders include 1 Hispanic, several women, and African Americans.
Former Massachusetts Senator Paul Tsongas is facing a new battle with cancer. Doctors determined that a growth in his abdomen is cancerous but treatable. Tsongas declined to comment, saying he'll hold a news conference sometime next week. A source close to the former Democratic presidential candidate said doctors will probably treat the cancer with radiation.
Economists have more reasons to cheer tonight with further signs that the economy is picking up. Sales of existing homes rose in October to their highest level in more than 3 years. Meanwhile, the number of Americans filing for jobless benefits dropped by 12,000 last week.
Well, they say smile, and the whole world smiles with you, and that's the case for an Oregon man who finds his job is really something to smile about. That's a little later.
But first, having a hassle-free Thanksgiving Day dinner. You still do the dishes, but that's just about all.
The Subaru 92 model clearance sale is on now. See your local Subaru dealer.
At Home Base, our everyday prices are so low that if you ever see something advertised for less, just bring in the ad and we'll beat it by 5%.
At Home Base, you'll find great gift ideas for the holidays, like Black & Decker's 13-piece bullet drill bit set. And we also have the 13-piece jigsaw blade set, or the 21-piece screwdriver bit and socket set, perfect for all drills and cordless screwdrivers. And for all your holiday shopping purchases, we welcome the American Express card. Home Base, it's that simple.
There's nothing better than celebrating the joyous holiday season with family and friends. So feast on the freshest seafood, succulent meats, French brie, or any of 200 other imported and domestic cheeses, plus delicious salads and fresh European-style breads. Find just what you need from all the best specialty shops in town in one place, Safeway. When it comes to holiday celebrations, nobody makes it easier.
You already know about Dairy Queen's great full meal deal, home-style burger and fries.
Along with soft drink and the famous Dairy Queen sundae. Now it's the holiday full meal deal.
And you also get this great holiday glass. Collect a whole set.
The holiday full meal deal, only from Dairy Queen. You get all this, plus a collectible holiday glass, and all for one festive Dairy Queen price. It's the season sensation at Dairy Queen, where we treat you right.
Financing is easier now than it ever has been. All the time we finance people at our dealership that have been turned down somewhere else. And I got to tell you, it's because of our relationship with the banks. If a customer is thinking they can't buy a car because of financing, I challenge them to come in and give us a try, because I bet you it will surprise them. So remember, if you don't come see me today, I can't save you any money.
He's a one-man army in a wheelchair, rolling over Florida drug dealers on the next Current Affair.
Thursday night at 7.
Just 20 minutes ago, the jury in the Alberto Gonzalez AIDS trial found the defendant guilty on 12 of 14 counts against him.
Mary McDermott has been covering the trial. She's at the Multnomah County Courthouse with an update. Mary?
Well, Pete and Kathy, we have a couple of new pieces of information for you. One is that Alberto Gonzalez was immediately taken into custody this afternoon after the verdicts were read. We also found out that he will be sentenced on Monday. We got a chance to observe as Gonzalez was led out of the courtroom. We caught a little bit of what he was saying on videotape, and why don't we try to go to that right now?
All this clear about all the judicial and racial prejudice that I was subject to. This case was hyped out. In the attempted murder, there shouldn't have been a decision of guilty because it didn't set the standard. There was no set law that HIV is a deadly weapon.
Gentlemen,
it's not on the statutes. It should not be.
Folks, we need to go through. Excuse me.
are you alleging discrimination here?
Obviously, Alberto Gonzalez very upset about being found guilty of attempted murder. We're going to take a look at the counts, the charges that Gonzalez was facing during the past week and a half. One count of attempted murder, he was found guilty there. He was also facing 3 counts of attempted assault. He was found guilty of all 3. He was facing 5 counts of delivery of a controlled substance to a minor, found guilty on all 5 counts there. He was also facing 2 counts of sexual abuse, and these were the 2 counts that he was found not guilty on. He was also facing 2 counts of contributing to the sexual delinquency of a minor, 1 count of reckless endangerment, and once again, the 1 count of attempted murder. He was found guilty of all the counts you see there on your screen. We're continuing to get reaction to today's verdicts as people react up in the Multnomah County Courthouse behind me, and we'll try to get more of that to you later tonight.
Mary, just one more question. At the time, the woman that he was accused of attempting to murder was 17 years old.
Correct.
Was she in the courtroom, and did you get any reaction from her?
We have not gotten reaction from her. She has wished not to be identified during this trial, and because I was not in the courtroom at the time the verdicts were read, I was in a room where we were watching what was happening on a monitor. The camera was on the judge and on Gonzalez at the time. He, as I said earlier, didn't show a whole lot of emotion when the verdicts were read, but later on he was hugging family members who have been surrounding him throughout this trial. They were crying. He seemed to be comforting them. And he, as you saw from the videotape we just showed, was pretty upset after especially the attempted murder charge that he was found guilty on.
Thank you very much. Mary McDermott reporting from Multnomah County Courthouse, where Alberto Gonzalez was found guilty on 12 of 14 counts, including attempted murder.
Okay, we're going to shift gears here now. Tom Fuller, our consumer reporter. Everyone getting ready for Thanksgiving, of course, and you just assume that everybody eats at home.
That's
having
right.
turkey and all that, right?
You can't assume that anymore.
You can't.
Not with today's lifestyle, so here's a consumer answer to that. Now, no doubt many of you are panicking at this moment because you may have forgot something at the grocery store for tomorrow's big Thanksgiving meal. But if you are among a growing number of consumers, your turkey dinner will cook itself while you sleep.
Patrick Castro's Thanksgiving shopping list is pretty long.
360 pounds of stuffing, 520 pounds of gravy, 1,250 dinner rolls, 145 turkeys.
As you can tell, Patrick Castro isn't your ordinary shopper. You see, he runs a deli in Beaverton that specializes in making turkey dinners so busy consumers don't have to.
Wonderful.
Patrick and his crew of 4 cut potatoes and cantaloupe, break open fresh turkeys, spread on sage and other spices, then gently place them into the oven.
Hey, here we go.
A dinner for 10 costs $50 at this deli, about $2 a person more than doing it yourself at home. But for those on the run with no time to spare, it's more than worth it.
Everybody's lives are getting busier and busier year by year. Don't have enough time, or people coming in from out of town, they have to work, just not enough time.
So that means Patrick Castro has plenty to do. Business at delis like this doubles with each passing year.
It's a madhouse. It's a lot to do in a short amount of time.
A crew of 4 will work all night here, baking up all the turkeys and pies and fixings. then boxing them up so that consumers can pick up a hot meal ready for the table on Thanksgiving Day.
Turkey goes in the bottom of the box. The stuffing, gravy, mashed potatoes, fruit salad all goes on the top tier of a box. Pumpkin pie on top, and it has a handle to carry it away.
And only Patrick Castro knows who really slaved in the hot kitchen for hours to make Thanksgiving dinner a success.
And whether cooked at home or by a deli, Americans will consume some 45 million turkeys this Thanksgiving holiday.
Those turkeys look good.
Oh, hey, they smell
Man.
great. Let me tell you, it's all I could do to keep from reaching out and taking a leg or something, but now they got to go to their homes. That's right. Wait till tomorrow.
Okay, Tom,
Well,
thanks.
some people didn't wait. Actually, many social service agencies in Portland were serving Thanksgiving meals today. Homeless men and women lined up in the cold outside of Blanchet House for the holiday meal. 10,000 people are expected to attend a free community feast tonight at 7 Portland public school locations. That's between 5 and 7 o'clock. Here's a list of those schools and locations where Thanksgiving meals will be served tomorrow.
What child wouldn't smile when receiving a toy? And that's what our Channel 8 Toy Drive, I think, is all about. It means so much to these kids. And it means, I think, a lot to the people who are giving of themselves, coming by and dropping off the toys. It's great for them, too.
Won't you find it in your heart to give this year? Bring an unwrapped new toy to G.I. Joe's or the Channel 8 studios.
Give from your heart and give to the Channel 8 Toy Drive.
If you love the taste and smell of fresh ground coffee, the wholesome natural goodness of fresh squeezed juice, if you love rich hearty sauces, then you should know Braun housewares are on sale at Fred Meyer. You can bring home the continental flavor of an espresso master for just $89.99. The Braun hand blender with chopper is just $29.99. And when you buy the 10-cup Braun coffee maker, also $29.99, you'll get a free stainless steel filter. Only during the Braun sale. You'll find it at Fred Meyer.
All pain relievers are not the same. Introducing aspirin-free Anacin maximum strength gel caplets. Strong against stubborn headaches, easy to swallow, gentle on your stomach. New gel caplets, the newest form in pain relief of aspirin-free Anacin.
This is a place of rest or a place of torment when nighttime pain keeps you awake. Get help from a name you know. New aspirin-free Anacin PM with a powerful pain reliever plus a gentle ingredient to help you sleep. So you wake up feeling fresh.
This just isn't Maine. This just isn't my kind of love.
Maine to California.
You're kidding me.
People just like you. Win thousands, win millions. Out of the blue.
Yes. Miracles can happen for you. Holy cow.
Publishers Clearinghouse, the house where dreams come true.
For a long time, we owned the road. Toyota cars and trucks have always been that much better. Way out ahead in quality, technology, and value. So while others may seem to be catching up, don't forget, Toyota keeps forging ahead, developing new styles, better quality, and providing the kind of value that promises to keep us ahead. Add to that a group of dealers who keep all that value affordable, and that's why Toyota remains that much better. If you want a better car at a much better price, see your local Toyota dealer.
Get to know the myths and facts about diabetes. Pick up a free brochure at participating Payless drugstores. The information in here can help save a life.
Well, people are starting to get into the holiday spirit. It's the end of the day, and Joe's got a weather forecast that will make you smile.
You know, I think it's not going to be too bad for the early trip to Grandma's house if that's where you're going, and I would suggest that if you're going to get on the road tomorrow, get on the road early, or if you can leave tonight. It looks like the adverse weather will be showing up late tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening. More on that as we pop along, but first of all, here are the current readings. At 5 o'clock, clear skies and the temperature reading of 41 degrees. The wind is east at 22. You combine that with the temperature, we have a wind chill of 18. That's cold. The wind, by the way, is gusting to 32 miles per hour. The humidity's at 55%, and the barometer 30.29. It's steady. High today, 46 degrees. Low overnight last night, a very cool 39, and no rainfall in the rain gauge since midnight last night. That does not affect our totals, obviously, for the month of November and for the year. The deficit continues, and the freezing level right now at 9,200 feet. Okay, weather school is still in session, so here is tonight's question. The first lightning rod was invented and installed on the home of A, Thomas Edison, B, Benjamin Franklin, or C, Galileo. You think about that, and we'll have the answer for you in just a second. Here's a look at the satellite loop over the past 20 hours, and take note of this area of clouds right here. This is our storm system for Thanksgiving. It's starting to push its way towards the west coast of the United States, and of course towards the northwestern part of the country where we live, and it's going to affect us again late tomorrow. The upper air pattern shows the ridge, which has been over us and keeping us cool for the past few days, now starting to show signs of slipping to the east, allowing this trough to push on in. And this trough will be right over us by Saturday, and we'll be bringing some more rain to the western part of the state, snow, and maybe even some freezing rain to the eastern part of the state. And this may occur again on Sunday, so on the trip home, it may be somewhat difficult, so keep an ear and be weather-wise over the weekend. Here's the current surface chart of the western United States and the eastern Pacific. The high now starting to slip to the east with lower pressure out to the west of us. That's why we've had that east wind for the past couple of days. The high moving to the east will loosen up that pressure gradient some, but you can see a very, very sharp gradient out towards the low out in the Pacific Ocean. Thus, we've had that east wind. Again, as this pushes to the east, the wind will die down, but allow this storm to move on in and bring with it the rain. 46 degrees here at KGW today. Same thing over in Hillsboro. 45 in Camas, Washington for a high. Estacada had 48 degrees, 50 up in Brush Prairie, Washington. Highs around the state today. Rather cool still east side. Burns 29 degrees. LeGrand, Pendleton 29. They've had low clouds and fog up there all day, and that's going to be the trouble spot in the state for the next couple of days. Ontario, though, had 42 degrees, 46 down in Eugene, and a mild 62 for a high today in Brookings. Lows overnight last night in the 40s along the coast. 29, though, down in Eugene. Medford had 36 degrees. Baker City, 4 above, same thing in Burns. Rome had 11 degrees. A big storm system that brought all of the snow to parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas is now moving to the east. Laverne, Oklahoma, picked up 19 inches of snow from this storm system, which is heading through the Chicago area right now, bringing snow to the upper Midwest and rain to the east and south of it. So it looks like a rainy, wet Thanksgiving weekend in the eastern United States. 26 degrees, a record low for Tucson, Arizona overnight last night. Highs around the nation, 64 for New Orleans today. Atlanta had 63 degrees, 46 in Boston. Salt Lake City, 27, 63 in San Francisco. Fairbanks had 33. There is a small craft advisory up for the entire coastline for tonight. Forecast statewide for tonight, not too bad for traveling. Fair skies west side and basically fair skies east side, but still some freezing drizzle and maybe some snow in the Columbia Basin. Traveling that way. Same conditions for tomorrow. Increasing high clouds southeast and central part of the state with a greater chance of rain as the day moves along tomorrow in the western part of the state. Here's a look now at the forecast. For the Portland-Vancouver metro area, fair tonight, and it's going to be windy near the gorge. East winds at 10 to 20, and they will be gusty. The low 38 degrees. And then for tomorrow, look for increasing clouds, rain developing late afternoon, early evening, a gusty east wind at 10 to 20, the high 47 degrees. And the 5-day forecast, rain to showers on Friday, a chance of rain again on Saturday and Sunday. Highs right around 50 right through the weekend with showers about on Monday. And now the weather school answer. Whose house had the first lightning rod? Benjamin Franklin, of course. Galileo had the first cable TV installation.
Ah, I knew that he was known for something.
That's true.
That's what it was. All right.
Thanks, Jeff.
You bet.
Well, the Blazers are in Phoenix tonight, getting ready to take on the Suns in less than an hour right here on Channel 8. We'll have a live report next.
But first, some upbeat economic news made for a good day on Wall Street.
Watch the Blazers set the Suns tonight at 6:30.
Periods of rain becoming freezing on Thursday. Hours of thunderstorms today.
introducing the new Del Sol from Honda, just in time for winter.
If you're looking for a new dining experience, come to Sharp. Their delicious selection of entrees. Choose from a complete menu that offers something for every taste. Afterwards, stop by their lounge downstairs. On Sundays, try their exquisite and carefully prepared brunch for all. They also offer complete banquet facilities for up to 200 as well as outside catering. Charbonneau on the Green, a restaurant for all occasions, just off I-5 in Wilsonville next to the beautiful Charbonneau Public Golf Course.
Welcome. Today's subject, energy conservation. Say you want a new refrigerator, CD, television, and personal computer. You could waste a lot of energy running all over creation. But at the Incredible Universe, everything is under one incredibly large roof, all at incredibly low prices. So you'd still have enough pep to sing in the karaoke studio. Hey, shine on, harvest moon.
If it's not in the universe, it doesn't exist.
We have 6 dealerships right next to each other on McLaughlin Boulevard, and a 7th one just 6 miles north on the same street. It makes it easy for the consumer to compare product. It's possible for the customer, in a short period of time, see almost every product available in the marketplace. And they can make their buying decision, go home, and be done with it. That's why I say, if you don't come see me today, I can't save you any money.
She's spoiled rotten by her father, and Mom's fed up.
You get away with everything.
It was a luck day.
Everything.
He's jealous.
I'm not jealous.
Yes, you are.
It's all in an attitude transplant.
Next Saturday. Tomorrow at 4 on Channel 8.
Euro World Trade wants you to unbutton your fly and bring your own Levi's to us. We want them, and we'll pay up to $13 per pair. So unbutton your fly and get yourself to Euro World Trade, 636 Southeast Powell Boulevard.
Well, they squeaked by last night against
That's right.
San Antone, and they didn't have a long time to rest on their laurels,
Right
really.
down to Phoenix, and I guarantee you, this is going to be tough. Ought to be a dandy in the Arizona sunshine. Great matchup. The Blazers take the floor against the Phoenix Suns at 6:30. You'll see it right here on Channel 8. Now, right after last night's game against the Spurs, Clyde and Terry were talking about playing Barkley and KJ and the rest of the Suns.
They didn't play tonight. They're well rested, and, KJ didn't play the first time, so they're definitely going to try to make sure they make a statement.
Phoenix is playing some pretty good ball this season, but I think Chicago has proven that they're beatable on their home court. And we're going to go down there and try to do the same thing.
Now, they're about 45 minutes away from game time in Phoenix. Let's go to America West Arena right now, where Bill Denny of KPNX TV is hanging out. Bill, thanks for joining us. Let's talk about, first of all, about that new arena you guys have. How do you like it, and how do the Suns like it?
Well, it's 1 million square feet, Eric, of restaurants and bars and cocktail lounges, and actually the main floor of the arena is down below the street level. And then down below that on the backside of the south of the building is a practice facility. But you're seeing now some of the 87 skyboxes that have been sold, in fact, sold well before the arena ever opened up. It's a great facility. It has been sold out since the Phoenix Suns got into the building this year. And seating is probably equally as good as it was at the Coliseum, maybe a little bit better, because the seats, though they're up top and higher, they're closer to the arena itself. But all in all, it's pretty good. And I'll tell you something, Eric, tonight the Phoenix Suns don't want to ruin their record here against Portland. They want to start with a victory, and they don't want to go 0-1 against Portland in this building.
Well, let's talk about that right now. The Suns have lost a couple games in a row. The Bulls came into town and beat them. How important is it for the Suns to not go down 0-2 against the Blazers this season?
Well, see, first of all, they lost to the Clippers on purpose. They lost to the Bulls on purpose because they knew it was going to help their division. So now they're coming up against Portland, and they know that to get over Portland and win the Pacific Division, they have to beat the Blazers. So, in fact, I got these guys out here to work a little early to get tired, and, by the time they get in the game, it's going to be all over for us.
It's all becoming crystal clear, Bill. One last thing. We've been seeing Charles Barkley throwing people around and talking trash. Is this guy completely out of control right now? What's your perspective on him?
I'm going to tell you what. He is probably, we do a half-hour show once a week with him. He's probably the nicest guy I've ever met as a professional athlete. Problem is, when you ask him a question, he gives you an answer, and people aren't used to that with professional athletes. You know that, Eric. You've talked to a lot of guys. Ask him a question, they give you some dumb answer. He gives you an answer, and it doesn't make any difference what you ask him.
All right, Bill, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the game and have fun out there.
I hope I can. Thanks, Eric.
I'm sure it sounds like he will definitely have fun tonight. Last night, the Blazers got rid of the San Antonio Spurs, but it was not easy. In fact, it took a freak-blown layup to finally put the thing to rest. Jerry Tarkanian is having a tough time in the pros so far. First quarter, watch this. Vinny Del Negro to David Robinson with the alley-oop, perfectly timed. Kevin Duckworth, only guy scoring for the Blazers early on, has a shot blocked, hustles, gets it back, takes it in and scores. Nice play. Rod Strickland, playing against his old team, steals the ball from Avery Johnson, goes the length of the floor, zigging and zagging and lays it in. Historic moment in the third quarter. Duck would pass the ball to Clyde Drexler like he's done so many times before. Clyde would hit the jumper. Only this one was special. His 15,000th career point. Only 62 players in the history of the game have ever done that. They stopped the game, made a presentation, and of course, Clyde got a standing O. Back to the game, Clyde got two more on a nice pass from Cliff Robinson, who played another big game. Watch Mario Ellie right here. Slam dunks right in Antoine Carr's face. Then the alley-oop to Cliff. The Spurs would get close in the fourth, though. They pulled it within 2, and with 16 seconds left, they could have tied the game, but Lloyd Daniels' own layup pretty much left the Spurs speechless.
Who? Yeah, to tie the game, that, you know, I don't know. Maybe the ball slipped out of his hand, something, but wow, I wish it had happened some other time.
I don't know. We had some. We have opportunities. We just can't make the big play at the right time.
You know, basketball, you're gonna make mistakes, you know, but you know, we just got to hold our head up high and just come out and play tomorrow, you know, and try to get a win tomorrow.
There are 4 undefeated teams still alive in the state 4A football quarterfinals. One of them is Centennial High School. The Eagles take on Tigard High Friday night at Civic Stadium. They're on the turf today getting a feel for the stuff. It's been a great year, and they want it to continue, but the linemen and the backs disagree on what kind of weather they want Friday night. Quarterback says, I want sunshine, I want it to be nice. The linemen say, we want snow, we want rain, slush, whatever. So we will see.
And Phoenix lost those games on purpose.
On purpose. See, I didn't realize that until just now.
Let's see if they can complete it as a hat trick tonight.
Okay, thanks, Eric. Well, I think you have a good attitude about your job. How about a comparison check?
When we come back, we'll meet a man who smiles his way through the day.
On the next Good Evening, an angel of mercy at 911 helps save a dying baby boy.
Sounded like she was going to give up, and I just told her she couldn't.
Then, buried alive in an icy avalanche, his only thoughts were of his pregnant wife and unborn son.
I guess it's because something that meant so much was almost taken away.
And the tiny baby gets a second chance at life through the gift of someone else's heart. Real stories of Thanksgiving on a special edition of Channel 8's Good Evening, Thursday night at 6:30.
With winter upon us, Nissan would like you to know that if you buy or lease a new Pathfinder now, Nissan will give you a genuine 4 Seasons roof rack with a ski attachment and 2 lift tickets good at 253 ski resorts in the United States and Canada. What are you waiting for? Christmas? Lease a Pathfinder XE now for just $279 a month.
For years, the Toyota truck has stood alone. No longer. Introducing the Toyota T100. Built from the same tough stuff as our compact, only bigger, with more room for 3 inside, and an 8-foot bed, with 4 feet between the wheel wells. Now, when it comes to Toyota trucks, the difference is even bigger.
When I get a cold, I see a doctor. I'm married to one. My wife recommends Dimetap Extend Tabs.
Extend Tabs relieve nasal congestion and sneezing for 12 hours. Doctors recommend Dimetap for their families and yours.
When the O'Connors, a doctor's family, catch a cold, the doctor recommends Dimetap. Now Dimetap introduces Dimetap Sinus to relieve sinus pain and pressure. Remember, doctors recommend Dimetap for their families and yours.
He's a one-man army in a wheelchair, rolling over Florida drug dealers on the next current affair.
Thursday night at 7.
A Roseburg woman accused of joining Adam Brown in sexual acts with children has been arrested and charged with rape and sodomy. 27-year-old Tonya Sue Nugent turned herself into police. She was booked and then released. Brown is accused of knowingly exposing 5 children to the AIDS virus through unprotected sex. Nugent, a daycare worker, allegedly took some of the children to Brown's home.
And if you're just joining us, here are some of the other top stories that we're following tonight. The jury has returned a guilty verdict on 12 of 14 counts against a 28-year-old Portland man accused of knowingly spreading the virus that causes AIDS. Alberto Gonzalez, seen here after the verdict, was charged with attempted murder after a 17-year-old girl came forward with the allegations. Before the case went to the jury yesterday, the prosecutor said the case emphasized the need for people to protect one another in sexual relationships. The group trying to oust Senator Bob Packwood after sexual harassment allegations today asked other victims to come forward. The coalition also said it will aggressively pursue complaints with the Senate Ethics Committee. Sunday's Washington Post details extensive sexual harassment allegations against the senator. Packwood has yet to respond publicly since that article appeared. And by all indications, traffic on the road and rails will be up significantly this Thanksgiving. AAA predicts that car travel will be up 7.5% over last Thanksgiving. The manager at the Greyhound bus station says reservations are up also. Amtrak has sold out all space on its reserved trains. They're also moving more passengers than last year.
Coming up tonight on News 8 at 11, the latest weather and road information for your Thanksgiving Day travel plans. And as the balloons are being unpacked and inflated, we'll show you the final preparation for tomorrow's 66th annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York. That's tonight on News 8 at 11.
And finally, here's a job description. The friendliest person in the world with a big smile and a desire to make everyone happy.
If you ever see that in the want ads, we have just the guy for you. Here's News 8's Carl Click.
At a restaurant, there are waiters and waitresses, there are cooks, dishwashers, and then there is James.
I have a table for you right this way. You're welcome. You guys have a nice dinner now. All right. Well, you guys have a nice dinner now. All right. You guys have a nice dinner now. You're welcome.
Well, we call James the service facilitator.
Yeah, you can call him that, or host, or maitre d', or the Salem Red Robin's PR guy. But most everyone calls him Smiley. Any wonder why?
James Smiley started here in the restaurant washing dishes, but something just wasn't quite right. The other employees noticed that he was just too doggone happy to be a dishwasher.
So they moved him out front to be with the people so as not to waste his talents.
Fajitas? Oh, why? It's the zesty feeling of being in Mexico. Bentley?
Yeah.
All right, I'll go right on back and check it out and be right back. Okay. Here's one menu coming at you there. And here's yours coming at you there.
And this is no act just for the camera, folks. Friends and coworkers say Smiley is like this 24 hours a day, on good days and bad days, even before his morning cup of coffee. And the customers notice.
This is a small sample of the comment cards that directly relate to James. Smiley is a great receptionist. He's very friendly.
And there's yours, and I'll take away all this excess silverware out of your way.
Smiley was extremely funny and friendly.
Paperclip? Not on you.
Smiley was a great, funny, nice man.
Would you like the extra napkins left behind?
Smiley is awesome.
I'm back once again with red, white, and blue just for you.
Many of them say he needs a raise.
And while Smiley probably wouldn't mind a raise, for now he's just happy if his smile gets a smile in return.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carl Click, News 8.
That's the guy
Whoa.
with the Ipana smile that we've always heard about.
That's right.
It's got to be.
Does his mouth ever get tired from smiling? That's good. Well,
Very
that's
nice.
great. Well, finally tonight, we want to take a moment to wish you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving.
For those of us who make our homes here in the Northwest, we truly do have much to be thankful for. And as we say goodnight, tonight some sights and sounds of what we're proud to call home. We'll see you tonight at 11.
following is a Channel 8 editorial.
Oregonians overwhelmingly passed Measure 5 a few years ago, and that shifted much of the cost of education to the state. With no money to cover it, things will look different here. 4,700 felons won't be caught by the state police because 200 fewer troopers will be chasing them. 3,400 more drug crimes will go unprosecuted. Nearly 6,000 drunk drivers won't be taken off the streets. 8,700 thefts, burglaries, and property crimes will go uninvestigated. And consider the human aspect. Care services will be dropped for 4,300 seniors and disabled. 7,000 welfare parents will no longer get help to find work. 4,000 abused kids will no longer get protection or counseling. 120,000 needy adults will lose their medications, and the plug will be pulled from 4,300 patients who rely on oxygen and care equipment. Sound apocalyptic? You bet. Sound like Oregon? Count on it. We don't envy lawmakers faced with cuts that do this. But without a change in Oregon's tax system, count on all this happening and more. If you don't like it, now's the time to tell your legislator. Write us. We'll give you the address.
Channel 8 welcomes viewer response.
Coming up tonight after the Blazer game, Inside Edition at 9, Seinfeld at 9:30, Law and Order at 10, and News 8 at 11. That's all tonight on Channel 8. On the next Good Evening, an angel of mercy at 911 helps save a dying baby boy.
Sounded like she was going to give up, and I just told her she couldn't.
Then, buried alive in an icy avalanche, his only thoughts were of his pregnant wife and unborn son.
I guess it's because something that meant so much was almost taken away.
And a tiny baby gets a second chance at life through the gift of someone else's heart. Real stories of Thanksgiving on a special edition of Channel 8's Good Evening, Thursday night at 6:30.
Only one name in American luxury cars offers the safety of dual airbags on every model: Lincoln. And now, Lincoln Continental, the first American luxury car to offer dual airbag protection, announces the Safe Lease. Now, the safety of Lincoln Continental at just $399 per month with a 24-month red carpet lease. The Safe Lease on Lincoln Continental. For all the details, see your Lincoln Mercury dealer today.
Oh, sure, it's wonderful in the showroom, and sure, it handles fine on a sunny day, but tell me how it'll do in the rain, or even better, snow. Tell me it offers all-wheel drive traction like a Subaru, so I don't have to drive behind a snowplow. Don't tell me about Euro-styling. Tell me most models offer anti-lock brakes like a Subaru, so if I hit something slick, I can stop better, stop surer. Tell me, I have the money, and I want to know what to drive.
The Subaru 92 model clearance sale is on now. See your local Subaru dealer.
We have new neighbors, eh?
An innocent flirtation.
I'm Catherine, but everybody calls me Kay.
A dangerous obsession.
You want my wife, don't you? You are insane, Eddie.
An affair that turned into a nightmare.
The murder weapon has your prints on it. I didn't kill her. Leave me alone! Come on, Rick. Come to Papa.
Consenting adults.
What a setup.
Rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
At Thomason Toyota, the more cars we sell, the less we can sell them for. So just think how much you'll save during our biggest sale of the year. We've ordered so many new Toyotas, there isn't room on our lot. Come to the Monarch Hotel Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to choose from hundreds of 93 Corollas, Camrys, pickups, and more, including the new full-size T100 truck. And we offer financing to anyone the law allows. But if you don't come see me at the Monarch Hotel, I can't save you any money.
Watch the Blazers set the Suns tonight at 6:30.